Hi there, this is Steve again with Mojo Life Coaches, and I'm about to share with you the second video of a 4-video series. However, I would highly recommend you go back and listen to the first video because it's going to have a lot of foundational information that you're going to miss when I'm going to talk about on this video. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so as I talked about before, a big part of clutter is depression and anxiety. So depression and anxiety equal and trigger clutter. That's a big portion of the people that we have out of our hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients that we have worked with, is that we see that that's the underlying pattern that we see a lot. So our goal is basically to address and get you out of doing depression and also out of feeling that constant anxiety. So that's what we specialize in doing. And then once you don't have those feelings, then automatically you don't need to hold on to the clutter, and it miraculously starts leaving your home, and you get the sense of certainty and security and faith and all of that instead of fear, all within you, and that's what we work on. And then you don't need the crutch of things around you. Okay, so that's how it works. I'm going to give you some facts that are very powerful to show you where we are in our society. 1 out of 3 people struggle with depression and anxiety in their lifetime. So isn't that pretty amazing? We walk around thinking, why do I feel so sad, or why am I so anxious, social anxiety, or whatever it is, but we don't know that the other people right around us are feeling the same thing, and we're all suffering alone. So we're all about just getting out there and dealing with what we deal with instead of just numbing ourselves with toxic drugs. And it's about pain. Our society is all about pain management as opposed to curing the issue. Let's heal the issue so we don't have to keep wasting money on drugs and putting toxins in our body that we have no idea the long-term or short-term effects. I mean, on antidepressants, a black label says you might want to kill yourself. Well, hello, let's think this through. If I'm feeling depressed, why do I want to take a drug that might, on a time that I'm feeling really weak, that I would want to commit suicide? So we're all about doing it holistically because that actually gets it to the cure issue, like the lava that I was talking about before. So interestingly enough, 15 billion, that's with a B, whatever that is, a B, I'm going to do a B, billion, $15 billion is spent on antidepressants alone. Not even antipsychotics and all of that, but just antidepressants. If that was the case, and it worked, and if it actually solved the issue, why are we more and more people taking it? That's my question. If it actually really worked, then it's not fixing the issue. It's just numbing people so they don't feel any emotions. And we don't want to be walking around with our family and our kids and teaching them to be zombies, right? So the interesting thing is that there was a study that was done, really blew my mind. 80%, they took thousands of people who were taking antidepressants, and they took them into a double-blind where it's basically, you can't skew it, a double-blind study, and they showed that 80% of the people who took the antidepressants actually took a placebo, which was sugar water. But because of how powerful our mind is, it believed that the pill was going to help me feel less depressed and less anxious, and so it did. So what I'm suggesting to you guys is we don't need to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to pharmaceutical companies to do what our brain does just because we think it's going to happen. We're going to show you how to do that on your own. That's the neat part. So you don't need to put in these drugs that you're not the one making these drugs. You don't know what's in them. And you're putting that in your body. Okay, so today more money is spent on holistic remedies versus traditional doctors. And it's actually like tenfold. So I'm actually happy to hear that because it's actually getting to the root cause. So bottom line is you are 100% in control of doing depression to yourself. You might say it's because of this happened, because they say this, or they are doing that to me. but it's your reaction to what happens in life, and you are doing depression systematically. And I'm going to show you today, I'm really excited to share that with you, is how you do that. And once I learned, literally within 3 days, I was going through this process, because no one gave this to me. I had to actually, it's proprietary. I had to actually go out and do it myself so that I can now, once I've gone through it, now I can show you how to do it. Okay? And I came up with a word, it's not even a word, but depressionist. Just like the word impressionist, where people do, different kinds of impressions. I was actually doing depression to myself, so I call myself a depressionist, or an ex-depressionist, because I don't do that anymore. And hopefully, once I give you some of this information, and if you want to go deeper, because I can only cover so much material in these videos, but I'm going to give you an opportunity. If you want to go deeper and you want to make sure that you have accountability and get this in your own life, I'll show you how to do that, okay? All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go as deep as I can on this video and show you how, first of all, depression and anxiety is a trigger for cluttering behavior. And to give you a framework, what happens is that because I feel depressed, because of the way I'm thinking, it drains my energy. It drains my my compelling future to want to have a clean home, right? So the more chaos I feel inside, we end up manifesting it on our outside in our environment. So our house becomes chaotic with clutter, is because of what's going on inside, right? So, and as you well know, when you're depressed, you're suppressing yourself. Well, I'm going to show you how. But when we suppress ourselves, our energy gets drained. It's kind of like a sieve. It's just draining and draining, and then I don't feel like doing anything, right? As opposed to having an ability to give ourselves energy, we're actually taking it away. And it affects all areas of our life. It makes us emotionally eat. It makes us drink a lot, alcohol, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to show you how you do depression right here, okay? So let's get into it. The first way that you actually do depression to yourself is physiologically. All human beings do this, and if you can imagine, if I'm about to go inward, because one of the byproducts or the secondary payoffs of why we do depression to ourselves is so that we can go inward and connect. Oh, poor Steve. Oh, God, you lost money and you lost a loved one. So I go inward and I connect. So I can go in with Steve, right? Or go in with yourself. And so physiologically, we actually go smaller when we're about to do depression. And a lot of times it's unconscious because it's just habitual at this point. But we get smaller. My head goes down. I get weaker. I get smaller. My breathing becomes more shallow. Really shallow, as opposed to, like, if you take a deep breath, you immediately feel better. But because we start breathing shallowly, so our eyes go down, our head goes down, our shoulders come in. And here's an interesting study, is that and I did this when I was coming out of depression, stopped doing my depression. I was like, if I smile, biochemically, my brain thinks I'm happy. It doesn't know what's actually real or not. It's just going. So I just started, even though I didn't really feel like smiling, I had nothing I thought to smile about. I just started smiling, forcing myself to smile, and all of a sudden I started feeling better. So that's another thing you can do, is smile, pull your shoulders back. Check yourself, am I feeling down? Am I feeling energy coming away from me or coming into me? And I can promise you're doing it to yourself through these ways. Excuse me. So what ends up happening is you want to be able to check yourself multiple times throughout the day and go, how am I feeling right now? I'm kind of feeling lonely. I'm feeling rejected. I'm feeling like a victim. I'm feeling sad, whatever you want to call it, depression, sad. It's just the electricity that's going through your body. I'm checking in. I'm not feeling all that good. Okay. Well, we now know what to do about it. Pull your shoulders back, start smiling, lift up. And then, so that's the first thing you want to do is physically change, because we actually go into doing depression. If I say go do depression right now, you know exactly what to do. And you go curl up, we want to suck our thumb, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so number 2 is language. We do depression because of language. We're actually talking ourselves into depression. And we do it internally and externally. So internally, when I am talking to myself, the language that I'm talking to myself is, God, Steve, why did you do that? You're such an idiot. Or, God, when we look in the mirror, especially women have this thing when they look in the mirror and they're like, these rolls, or look, the flabby. You're talking to yourself internally and you're depressing yourself. So stop doing that. And we're going to show you how more advanced, if you want to learn how to go deeper in this, we're going to show you systematically how to do that. But this is what's happening, is the way the red tape that's constantly playing in your mind is the internal language, and you want to watch that, okay? Because you are depressing yourself. Also, externally, the way you talk to other people. For instance, a lot of our clients did the same thing that I did. When they come to me and they go, Steve, I feel like there's a black cloud over my head. And I used to say that. I used to brag to my friends, hey, have you seen my black cloud? I can't dodge it. I can't dodge it. Well, the interesting thing that I found out is because my brain doesn't know what's actually happening or not. It believed that I had a negative cloud. So how could I ever not feel negative and suppressed and sad? Because I'm telling my brain, you're sad. You can't be. But there's no cloud. So we always want to watch the metaphors that we use, in terms of, so externally, you always want to watch what words you're using. See, if when I put that out to the world, that I have a black cloud, I was externally creating my depression, okay? So the third thing is focus. We're getting into more of the powerful things that this is more of, if you've ever heard of cognitive behavioral therapy, this is what it's really talking about. But we actually have a different spin on it. What you're focused on will always, in which you're 100% in control of what you're going to focus on. So no one is forcing you to focus on something. It's by what you choose. But most likely you're in reactionary mode as opposed to responding to life by choice. And this is actually what we show our clients, is how to do that. And that becomes a habit. And then now they don't focus on things that are actually going to depress them. Okay? So, for example, let's say that someone dies, since that's a big trigger for people who are dealing with clutter. Someone dies. If I choose to focus on the void that I do not have, let's say it's my mom, I do not have my mom in my life anymore. I'm looking at that void. I'm choosing the focus that I do not have her there anymore. Well, of course I'm going to feel depressed. But hey, I got 100 more people that are beautiful people, beautiful souls that could light me up. And I could focus on them. I could focus on what I have instead of what I don't have. And then all of a sudden I'm not depressed anymore. So we train, it's basically retraining the brain and living consciously so that you bring about what you want in life instead of just taking what comes. Because your brain, without you proactively basically using the reins to control it, or whatever you want to use, the steering wheel, am I going left or am I going right? Am I going to focus on what I don't have, or am I going to focus on what I do have? It's totally up to your control. But there's certain things that we go deeper into this, but that's basically the main frame. The fourth thing that you're doing to contribute depression, to doing depression to yourself, making you the ultimate depressionist, like me, is the meaning you give things. For instance, let's say my mom was ill and she was dealing with cancer. And, I'm giving it the meaning that because she passed away, I'm being selfish. And by the way, I'm going to give you a little secret. Depression is all about me. when I'm into my own problems, I am depressed. I guarantee you. So the quickest way out is to immediately go outward focused and worry about other people's, because you will always find, if you look for it, again, the focus, if you look for other people who have bigger problems, they always do, then you will be out of depression during that period of time. It's when we go home and we think about our own problems, the money I don't have, the job I lost, it's all about me. Depression will set in, guaranteed. Okay, so that's a little secret for you. But going back to the meaning, my mom, she had cancer. Okay? I'm going to focus on the fact that she died. And for me, again, depression, me, what did I lose? Oh my God, I lost my mom. Oh my God, me. I lost her. I don't have her in my life anymore. But is that the meaning that I really want to give it? Because I realized that's depressing me. And if that doesn't, that should give me a wake-up call that I literally have hours left to live. Right? So let's make it worthwhile. Let's live it full out right now. Let's not do it depressed. Right? So what I did is choose to say, in the scenario, wow, she was dealing with cancer. She was dealing with a lot of pain and suffering. It wasn't even a great quality of life for her. But guess what? I'm going to give it the meaning also that she lived a beautiful life. Beautiful life. And and the meaning I'm going to give it is that she was able to be around long enough to have 4 beautiful children and like 15 different beautiful grandchildren. I'm going to give it that meaning, and guess what? No more depression. But here's the thing. We end up always defaulting back to wanting to connect with ourselves and feel bad for myself. That's what we do, is work with our clients and give them accountability and keep knocking them to showing them, is that really what you want? Is that what you want for your life? And they're like, no, I don't. And then all of a sudden, you do this for a period of time, it's a new life. Wholly transformed life. That's what happened to me, and that's what happened 98% of the time with our clients. Once we show them this stuff, and we go deeper into it, obviously, but I'm trying to give you the framework and going deep dish on this one area, okay? The best way that we have found is we work with clients one-on-one with our coaching, and it is very, very powerful, and we can customize it very quickly and get great results. However, it's even more powerful to work in a group setting because you get to hear what other people are going through. They ask certain questions, and then you're like, oh, I never thought about that. Oh, okay. And we're very fortunate in our community to attract very loving, and it's a safe, non-judgmental, supportive community, and where we can actually together learn and grow and support each other. And Elaine and I are always coaching, when people get stuck or they don't know what to do or things like that. So that's very powerful to be part of the community, especially with this behavior, because clutter, the shame and the embarrassment and the feeling like I don't deserve it, I'm not good enough, isolates you. And so we want to get you back into a community. And we'll show you later on how, if you're interested in joining our community to get these skills down, because the one characteristic that we see a lot with our clients is that they have great intentions. Oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have that project, and I'm going to do that, but their follow-through is horrible, absolutely horrible. And if you're dealing with clutter, the reason the clutter is around is because your follow-through is not good. Right? I meant to pick that up. I meant to go through that box. I meant to do that. So we find our coaching to be able to, our clients are like, wow, they're my accountability buddies. They got to get it done, right? So we make sure they get to the finish line, because typically on their own, they end up getting the lack of results that they've been getting for years prior. So I promised you, not only am I going to show you about the depression, but before I do that, I would like to, because in these videos, I'm going to show you how to turn today's immediately useful information into a lasting transformation toward a clutter-free home and life. And I'm going to also share with you some emails that two of our clients just sent in to us talking about their miraculous transformations, just to show you that it's not just us saying this. This is from the words of the people who are actually using this formula. So Barbara, who's a great client of ours, she said, "I didn't believe I could totally transform my home, my family, and myself without pain and suffering. And with this formula, I was able to do it all and so much more." So that was with Barbara. We love her. She feels like she's part of our family now. And there's a second lady who she ended up doing it the opposite way. And I would really highly recommend against this. And if you could talk to her, she would say the same thing. Is she ended up trying to clean out her home before she dealt with the mindset. And she had major panic attacks, major anxiety, because that's what happens. You haven't dealt with the core issues of why you're holding on to all this stuff. So she ended up doing it, and she called us literally a day after she cleaned out her house. She had a company come in, and she freaked out. She was having panic attacks, literally. And so she says, I need you guys right now, because we tried to tell her, we would not do it this way. We would do the mindset. Don't even worry about the stuff right now. And then it'll be a lot easier to have the clutter leave. You won't be so holding on to it. I'm going to actually give you a little example. This is a fun little example. I came up with this when I was in the shower. So we have a bowl of spaghetti, right? And people who have a lot of clutter, they are holding on so tight. Oh my God, I need to hold on to everything. And then all of a sudden, in their life, they have a lot of pain and suffering. But what ends up happening is their love with their family ends up going away because people are frustrated with their home, with the clutter around. And when we hold on so tight because of fear and insecurity, because we think that this stuff is going to settle our anxiety, this is what happens. We end up with nothing, very little. So I just wanted to give you that example of that's what we see our clients do, is they hold on so tight, and it just, their love, their money just comes right through their hands. Everything like goes away that's really important to them. And they're left with a bunch of stuff, having inanimate objects where they're giving their love, but they don't really get much love back other than they think things are beautiful and all of that. But they're missing the true juice of life with relationships with real people, right? That's what we find. And once they go through our formula, they feel like, oh, they develop this, I am good enough, I deserve. They develop a compelling future. I am made more than this to hide behind with my shades drawn, or to hide behind this stuff, because it might be comfortable for a while, but you don't feel like you're growing and contributing to the world. So that's where the pain and suffering and their self-worth, when they come to us, is so low. They beat themselves up constantly with that internal and external talk. And we show them a different way. And you know how many people say, most of the people who come to us are so big-hearted that they take care of everyone else, but they feel like they don't deserve it. They don't deserve to invest the money, the time, the healing for their own life, because they're so busy working on everyone else and making everyone else happy. But the first thing that you have to do is you have to heal yourself so you have more energy and that you can go out into the world in a bigger way and help them. And that's what we're all about, okay? So I promised you that I was going to show you the whole formula, not just I'm going to give you the whole kit and caboodle. And it is, ta-da! It is Declutter Your Home and Mindset Formula. This is our 5, because the way we work is we like to make it fun. You've been dealing with depression, anxiety, all of these things, so we want to make it fun for you to heal, right? To get out there into the world again. So we have a 5-step mojo dance, because we want to make sure that you get your mojo back in your life. So dance is D-A-N-C-E, and the D stands for what we went really deep into today. And by the way, with our individual and our group coaching and our programs, we go even deeper. So because of the sake of time, I can only show so much. But so the D, the most important thing is to ditch your depression. And then A is we annihilate your anxiety. It's interesting. I didn't read you Karen's testimonial when she sent it to us, but she said, once I did this program, I realized it was all me. I was talking myself into OCD, panic attacks, the anxiety and depression, all of it. And once I realized I could talk myself out of it with the help of this program, everything stopped and I don't need to take medication anymore, which is invaluable to me. I'd still be a depressed, anxiety-ridden mess like I felt like before, but not anymore. So the reason that the OCD, which is basically are just rituals because you're dealing with the anxiety, but once we deal with what's causing the anxiety and that goes away, all the OCD rituals, the panic attacks disappear, okay? Because we're, again, going to the lava of what's going on. So that's our second thing, is we're going to teach you how you're creating thoughts and things and doing anxiety in your life. And we set up rituals and things, and we customize it for you too, so that it works for your life, right? That we want to annihilate your anxiety, okay? So that's the second module that we do. And then the third module that we work on is no more negativity. So a lot of times we default to negativity. It's kind of like when you stop weeding a garden, weeds are going to grow. So if you're not proactive in your life, it's just going to default to the negativity. So we show you how you can stop doing that anymore and create a whole new transformed life, okay? So C is then we get focused on creating a clutter-free home and mind. That's when, because the depression and anxiety is a big core part, we address those very quickly, and then we can focus on actually decluttering your home, because we don't do that until we deal with the core issues, okay? Then at the last step, the fifth step, is we show you how to enjoy your newfound empowerment. We show you how to embrace that and how to keep it sustained, okay? So on the next video, we're going to show you some really, really good information that we're going to add on to this a little bit, just because we love to over-deliver. But these are the 5 steps that we have worked with literally hundreds and hundreds of clients, and it works 98% of the time, so we know it works. So we're going to give you an opportunity to go deeper into this if you would like later on. But thank you for listening again, and I can't wait to deliver the next material on the next video. So we'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.